If you want to learn all about wealth right now and abundance and prosperity, then stick to this program because I'm interviewing today on my soul session Dr. John Demartini. He has studied for the past 35 years over 270 disciplines. He was featured in the movie The Secret, has written over 40 books, is a person that live on the world, one of the biggest a cruise ship called The World where billionaires live on. He is living the life that a lot of people dream of, and today he's sharing with us in this passionate over 1 hour interview all the secret to wealth. So if you're serious about this, listen to it. Ask more questions if you have some. He has answered some of your questions that have been selected from video responses and comments of a previous video. So he'll be answering those as well. And it's very insightful, juicy, and just really definitely an opening to what it really takes to create wealth. So here's John. Hello, good morning, John.
Good morning, good evening here.
Let's talk about abundance, prosperity, wealth, money. It's a subject that is definitely on a lot of people's mind these days, particularly some people face bankruptcy, some people lose their job. There's a lot of fears around the subject, and you're one of the specialists, as far as I see it, that really understood the art of, and mastery of prosperity, or you seem to have understood something that I would love that we share with the viewers here. So first I wanted to ask you, how do you see money? What is for you money?
Well, I believe that money in its rightful position is a means and medium of fair exchange between individuals that live in a society where each individual has a talent that they're exchanging with other individuals that are not necessarily equal per time and per hour. In other words, somebody may shine shoes, another person may create surgery, and the person per hour doing surgery is worth more than the shining of the shoes. So as a result of it, they had to create a medium that allowed them to have some common measuring device to be able to have a fair exchange. Otherwise, see, in the very earliest forms of mediums of exchange were cows and grains and resources of nature, and then cows, and then eventually coins, and then paper, then plastic, then electronics, and then light. So as we have evolved economics, the means of exchange has become more effective and efficient, and light being the fastest and the most efficient, because you can break it down into smallest units that are completely allowing people to have fair exchange. So money is a means of exchanging one person's values for another, one person's service for another, in a way that people both feel that they're present and they can honor each other and feel that it's been a fair exchange. So the mastery of money is the mastery of service. And if you do not understand how valuable that is, and you minimize the placement of money in the evolution of society, then you will probably not master that and probably have challenges with that. So you have to appreciate money. There are three components that build wealth. And they originate from a study of axiology. Axiology is a study of value and worth. And the two components of it are the values to others. When we do a service for other people that is valuable to others, they value us, and they're willing to exchange something for that. The other is self-worth, where we're able to provide ourselves what we need. And we're able to provide a value to ourselves, answer our own questions, solve our own problems, tackle our own challenges, solve our own mysteries, fill our own needs. And to the degree that we are able to do that, we have self-worth. And then we have to have a value of the medium of exchange, which is, in this case, what we call cash or money today. Because when you are valuable to somebody else and you do a service for somebody else, they will pay you the money. But if you don't have a value on yourself, you will probably spend it, not keep it. If you value yourself, but you don't, if you're a value to yourself, but not a value to others, you'll be great at keeping the money, but you won't make it. If you're a value to other people and yourself, you will not only make the money or be able to make the money, you'll also be able to keep the money because you value yourself. And people who don't value themselves, the second they get money, they spend it and they don't keep it. They don't invest in themselves. So there's three components: self-worth, other worth, and the value of money itself. Because money is a means of exchanging between some persons serving and some people receiving the service. So one must understand the mechanics of economics and appreciate how it evolved and put it into a proper position. Many people have a misunderstanding that somehow money is either good or evil or, this kind of thing, or it's not spiritual or is spiritual.
Exactly.
And these are not real truths. The truth is that anything that you do or somebody else does with money that happens to support or align with your values, you'll label good. Anything that somebody does with money that goes against your values or challenges your values, you'll label bad. If you assume or see people using money in a way that challenges your values, you'll sometimes unwisely associate evil with money, when in fact money is simply a means of exchange and has no moral issue associated with it. It's just a means of serving people.
Well, I have a question here from Rachel Dimensions on YouTube that is asking you directly, how do you place money as high value when you really don't? I have trouble connecting to money. I only need it all the time in order to function in this system. I guess I have somewhat negative views on money. Any help is appreciated.
Well, I'm doing that now. By my own development of this, I'm trying to answer that question.
Yeah.
And anybody who devalues money will end up giving it away to other people who value it. Money automatically circulates in the economy through society to whoever values it most. And whoever values themselves most, values money most, and does things of service that other people value most. That's where the money ends up. I've asked people when I'm in front of 1,000 or more people, I ask people, how many of you have ever used Microsoft Windows? And they all put their hands up. And I said, well, now you can understand why he has the potential for being a billionaire. Because he's provided a service and developed a product that is valuable to any human being. And anytime we provide a service and care enough about humanity to do a service and create a service that all of humanity can benefit by, then we have now the potential to earn billions of dollars. Now, that doesn't mean we'll keep it, doesn't mean we'll save it, invest it. It just means that we have the potential to earning it at least.
But we're always
and that's half
back.
of
We a lot of us hold ourselves back from this, or we just there seems to be so much connotation, so much things from our past, things that we have inherited from our parents or grandparents, or things from even people say previous lives, karma. It's just like there's all this connotation and all this heaviness around money. I mean, knowing that doesn't make much of a difference to actually go for it, see it neutral, and just.
Well, it does make a difference because you first have to have a framework of what money is about. To first break the myths that you've been indoctrinated by people who are ignorant about money. If you listen to people who are ignorant about money and let that be your teachings, and you have no other insights about money, then you will probably end up in the same position as those people that taught you that. Not because you have to, it's just because you have not expanded your mind beyond the horizons of that. But money is simply a means of exchange. And so once you comprehend that, the more you're willing to serve people, the more wealth you're capable of building. Now, people that devalue money and negate it and have negative associations with it are quite foolish, because our society will depend on it and demand it. And the more you diminish it and the more you devalue it, the harder it is for you to be able to access it and accumulate it and be able to use it. So I asked Foster Hibbard, who was the carryover from Napoleon Hill. When Napoleon Hill died, Foster Hibbard became the teacher that carried on the work. And I had the opportunity to teach with him for a number of years, about 4 years. And I asked him, what does he think is the number one thing that blocks people from building wealth? And I had my own idea already, and it was identical to his. And he said that he experienced that the number one thing that Napoleon Hill found was that people carry around shame and guilt, and they feel unworthy. And when they do, they lower the value of money in their life. And the more they do, the more they depend on it. See, if you never appreciate money and never save a portion of it and invest it, then you will work your entire life for money. Mm-hmm. And you'll be a slave to money your entire life. And no matter how much you devalue it and degrade it in your own delusion, it's going to be part of your life, because society depends on that. Because once we have a classed society where different layers of society have differences in value in exchanging of services, money was an essential component. You can't create a society without it. And so as a result of that, the people who devalue it just make their life more difficult, because they're not going to avoid it in society, and they're just going to keep it from having that in their life. You have to value it, because money, as I said, circulates in society from those people who devalue it the most to those people who value it the most. Mm-hmm. And so once you appreciate it and get over your guilt, see, guilt keeps you having low self-worth. And then if you devalue money, you keep it from receiving it. And then if you don't care enough about humanity to go out and find some niche of service you can provide, you guaranteed yourself poverty. Mm-hmm. So you have to go out and be willing to care enough about humanity to make a difference and serve them, and find some sort of product or service or idea that makes a difference in people's lives that they'll want to pay for. Then you have to appreciate what money is, which means it's a means of paying for your service. And then you want to make sure you honor yourself, because if you don't pay yourself first, no one else will. And if you don't save and don't invest in yourself, nobody else will invest in you. And if you don't save money, you're going to work your whole life for it. But once you begin to save it, it starts working its life for you.
Yes, exactly.
And you become its master.
That's the thing of it working for us. We've heard many times that if you're doing really what you love and what you're passionate of, then it's gonna flow naturally. And I think there is maybe this expectation that it's supposed to flow at a certain point. How do you? It's our birthright. We heard that many times from actually Stuart Little.
That's a false teaching. That's a false teaching. You can do what you love and love what you do and be impoverished. So you can't. You have to.
If you want to learn all about wealth right now and abundance and prosperity, then stick to this program, because I'm interviewing today on my soul session Dr. John Demartini. He has studied for the past 35 years over 270 disciplines. He was featured in the movie The Secret, has written over 40 books, is a person that live on the world, one of the biggest a cruise ship called the World.
Well, I believe that money in its rightful position is a means and medium of fair exchange between individuals that live in a society where each individual has a talent that they're exchanging with other individuals that are not necessarily equal per time and per hour. In other words, somebody may...
Where billionaires live on. He is living the life that a lot of people dream of, and today he's sharing with us in this passionate over 1 hour interview all the secret to wealth. So if you're serious about this, listen to it. Ask more questions if you have some. He has answered some of your questions that have been selected from video responses and comments of a previous video. So he'll be answering those as well. And it's very insightful, juicy, and just really definitely an opening to what it really takes to create wealth. So here's John. Hello, good morning, John.
Good morning, good evening here.
Let's talk about abundance, prosperity, wealth, money. It's a subject that is definitely on a lot of people's mind these days. Particularly, some people face bankruptcy, some people lose their job. There's a lot of fears around the subject, and you're one of the specialists, as far as I see it, that really understood the art of, and mastery of prosperity. Or you seem to have understood something that I would love that we share with the viewers here. So first I wanted to ask you, how do you see money? What is for you money?